First contact and false assumptions. The Earth ship vessel Thunderchild cut through the void of space like a knife, its sleek hull reflecting distant starlight. Captain Maya Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the main view screen as it displayed the massive alien vessel that had appeared at the edge of the Sol system just 3 days ago. The ship was unlike anything humans had ever encountered, an organic-looking structure with flowing curves that seemed to defy engineering logic, pulsing with an eerie blue light. "Status report," Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the tension gripping the bridge. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel looked up from his console. "The alien vessel remains stationary at the orbit of Neptune, Captain. No change in their energy signature. They're still broadcasting the same message on all frequencies." Maya nodded. The message had been simple and had sent shockwaves through Earth's unified government. "Prepare for evaluation and classification by the Karn Empire." No introduction, no diplomatic overtures, just a cold statement of intent that had humanity scrambling to prepare a response. "Any progress on additional translation?" Maya asked, turning to Communications Officer Elena Rodriguez. Elena shook her head. "The language matrix is getting better, but they're not saying much beyond repeating their initial message. Their communication style is abrupt, almost dismissive. That tracks with what little we know of the Karn," said Dr. Victor Okafor, the ship's xenobiologist. "From the limited visual contact, they appear to be a silicon-based life form, evolved in a high-gravity environment. Their biochemistry and evolution would be fundamentally different from ours." Maya straightened her uniform. "And we're about to be humanity's welcoming committee. Lucky us." The Thunderchild wasn't Earth's most advanced vessel, but it was the closest military-grade ship to the alien arrival point. A retrofitted exploration vessel with enhanced defense capabilities, it represented humanity's first line of contact with the mysterious Karn Empire. "They're moving," announced Tactical Officer Zoe Park, accelerating toward our position. Maya turned to her executive officer, Commander Jack Hayes. "Battle stations, but weapons cold. We're here to talk first." Throughout the ship, alarm klaxons sounded as the crew prepared for potential combat. The Thunderchild was cutting edge by human standards, but they had no idea how it compared to Karn technology. "They're hailing us," Elena said. "Video format." "On screen," Maya ordered, squaring her shoulders. The view screen flickered, and the bridge crew collectively stiffened as they got their first close look at a Karn. The alien commander had a crystalline exoskeleton that glinted under the lights of their ship. 4 compound eyes arranged in a diamond pattern dominated what could be called a face, while multiple appendages moved with precise mechanical motions. "I am Overseer Krex of the Karn Evaluation Fleet," the alien announced, its voice translated into a metallic approximation of English. "You will submit to immediate scanning and classification." Maya stepped forward. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth ship vessel Thunderchild. We welcome peaceful contact with the Karn Empire and propose diplomatic dialogue." The alien's appendages twitched in what might have been amusement or contempt. "Diplomacy is reserved for species of adequate capability and potential. Scans indicate your vessel is primitive, utilizing inefficient combustion and nuclear propulsion methods. Your species requires preliminary classification first." Maya kept her expression neutral. "We respect your protocols, Overseer Krex, but request that any scanning be conducted with our consent and cooperation." "Consent is irrelevant," Krex replied. "Your species appears to be carbon-based, soft-bodied, and fragile. Initial classification suggests minimal threat potential and limited technological aptitude." On the bridge, Maya could sense her crew's rising indignation, but she maintained her diplomatic posture. "Appearances can be deceiving, Overseer. Humanity has much to offer the galactic community." "That remains to be determined," Krex responded. "A demonstration of Karn capability will now commence. Observe the following and understand your position." The transmission cut to show an exterior view. A small, uninhabited moon orbiting Neptune suddenly glowed as energy beams from the Karn vessel struck its surface. Within seconds, the moon's crust began to fracture, the entire satellite breaking apart into chunks of debris. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the moon was systematically demolished. When Krex's face reappeared on the screen, the alien's posture seemed more rigid, more imposing. This is standard Karn mining technology. Our military capabilities are considerably more advanced. You will now power down your defensive systems and prepare for boarding. Maya's expression hardened. With all due respect, Overseer, we cannot comply with that request. I propose instead a controlled exchange of representatives in neutral space. The alien's compound eyes seemed to narrow. Defiance is noted and will factor into your species classification. You have one of your Earth hours to reconsider before we extract the information we require by force. The transmission ended abruptly. Well, that went about as well as expected, Jack muttered. Maya turned to her crew. Options. Their energy readings during that demonstration were off the charts, Zoe reported. If they direct that kind of firepower at us, our shields won't hold. They're clearly trying to intimidate us, Raj added. Classic power play. Dr. Okafor cleared his throat. Captain, I've been analyzing the biological data from our visual contact. The Karn appear to have evolved in an environment very different from Earth, probably a high-gravity, low-oxygen world with extreme temperature variations. Their silicon-based biology would make them incredibly strong but potentially brittle. Maya raised an eyebrow. How does that help us? It means that what they consider normal environmental conditions might be very different from what we consider normal, the xenobiologist explained. And that could be an advantage if they do attempt to board. Maya nodded slowly. So if they come aboard, they might find our ship's environment challenging. To put it mildly, Dr. Okafor confirmed. Our standard atmospheric pressure, oxygen levels, humidity, and temperature could be extremely uncomfortable or even dangerous for them. They'd likely need environmental suits. And if we were to adjust our environmental controls? Maya asked, a plan beginning to form. Dr. Okafor smiled. We could make conditions aboard the Thunderchild quite inhospitable for Karn physiology, while remaining within human tolerance ranges. Maya turned to her XO. Jack, work with Dr. Okafor to make the necessary adjustments. I want the Karn to experience Earth normal conditions if they board us. Meanwhile, let's prepare a delegation to meet them. Volunteer basis only. You're not planning to comply with their boarding demand? Elena asked. Not exactly, Maya replied. But if they're coming aboard one way or another, I'd rather it be on our terms. And I want them to see humans up close and personal. Let them scan all they want. We have nothing to hide. Over the next hour, the Thunderchild's crew prepared for the impending confrontation. Engineering teams worked to reinforce critical systems. Security personnel positioned themselves at strategic locations throughout the ship, and a small delegation of volunteers prepared to meet the Karn representatives. 10 minutes before the Karn's deadline, Maya hailed the alien vessel. Overseer Krex, we are prepared to allow a limited boarding party to conduct your evaluation, provided our own security protocols are respected. The Karn leader's crystalline features appeared on screen again. Your conditions are irrelevant, but we accept your submission. Prepare to receive our evaluation team. Maya smiled thinly. We look forward to it. As the communication ended, she turned to her bridge crew. Now we show them what humans are really made of. The Karn boarding shuttle approached the Thunderchild with mechanical precision, docking at the main airlock. Security Chief Carlos Mendez stood with his team, all armed but with weapons holstered, a show of strength without immediate threat. Remember, Maya told the reception committee, we're not looking for a fight, but we're not going to be pushed around either. Let them see who we really are. The airlock cycled open, revealing 6 Karn in what appeared to be environmental suits. Their crystalline forms towered over the humans, standing nearly 8 feet tall, with multiple limbs moving in perfect coordination. At their head stood a figure Maya recognized as Overseer Krex. The moment the Karn stepped fully into the Thunderchild's artificial gravity, Their movements became noticeably labored. The aliens seemed to struggle with each step, their crystalline limbs quivering slightly under the strain. "Welcome aboard the Thunderchild," Maya greeted them, stepping forward confidently. "I'm Captain Chen." Krex's voice came through a translator device. "Your gravitational field is excessive." Maya feigned surprise. "This is standard Earth gravity. Is it causing you discomfort?" "The Karn adapt to all conditions," Krex stated, though the strain in the alien's voice was evident. "Your atmosphere is also highly corrosive and saturated with moisture." "Standard Earth conditions," Maya repeated innocently. 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, with normal humidity for human comfort. We can adjust the environmental controls if needed." "Unnecessary," Krex declared, straightening with visible effort. "The evaluation will proceed. We will examine your ship and crew to determine your species classification." Maya noticed the Karn scanning devices already at work, analyzing everything around them. "Of course, allow me to show you our vessel." As they moved through the ship, the contrast between human and Karn physiology became increasingly apparent. The aliens moved with deliberate care, clearly struggling with Earth's gravity and atmospheric conditions. When they passed the ship's gymnasium, where several crew members were exercising, lifting weights and running on treadmills, the Karn observers paused, their scanning devices working furiously. "Your species deliberately stresses its musculature and cardiovascular system," one of the Karn scientists asked, observing a crewman bench pressing weights. "Physical conditioning is important for human health and performance," Dr. Okafor explained. "Particularly for space duty, where we must compensate for extended periods in lower gravity." The Karn exchanged what might have been concerned glances before continuing. In engineering, Chief Engineer Layla Nazari proudly displayed the Thunderchild's propulsion systems. "Our fusion drive is fairly standard for mid-range vessels," she explained. "Nothing special." "Mid-range?" Krex questioned. "This is not your most advanced technology." Layla laughed. "The Thunderchild is reliable but hardly cutting-edge. She's a retrofitted exploration vessel." When they reached the reactor control room, the Karn team appeared disturbed by the radiation warnings. "These sections require protective measures," one asked, indicating the radiation shielding. "Standard safety protocols," Layla confirmed casually. "Humans can tolerate some radiation exposure, but we prefer to minimize it during routine operations." "The ambient radiation levels in this room are within your tolerance?" Krex asked, checking readings on a device. "Oh yes," Layla nodded. "These are well within safe parameters. During emergency operations, we can function in much higher radiation environments for limited periods." The Karn delegation grew increasingly silent as the tour continued, their initial dismissive attitude giving way to what appeared to be cautious reassessment. When they reached the mess hall, they watched in apparent horror as crew members casually consumed hot beverages and used microwave ovens. "Your species voluntarily exposes itself to thermal radiation for food preparation?" a Karn scientist asked. "Of course," Maya replied, sipping her coffee. "Would you care to try some?" "That would be inadvisable," Krex responded. As the tour concluded, the Karn leader seemed contemplative. "Your species is not as we anticipated, Captain Chen. You exist in conditions that would be harmful to many sentient life forms." "Every species adapts to its home environment," Maya said diplomatically. "Earth shaped us, just as your world shaped the Karn." "Indeed," Krex acknowledged. "We will return to our vessel to complete our analysis." As the aliens departed, moving with evident relief as they returned to their shuttle, Maya exchanged glances with her officers. "They think we're monsters, don't they?" Jack whispered. Maya nodded slightly. "They think we live in conditions that would kill them. And that's going to change their calculations considerably." Back on the bridge, the crew watched as the Karn shuttle returned to their massive vessel. "Now we wait," Maya said, settling into her command chair, "and see if they've learned their first lesson about humanity." The true face of humanity. 12 hours had passed since the Karn delegation returned to their vessel. The massive alien ship maintained its position, silent and ominous against the backdrop of stars. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Captain Maya Chen had refused to leave her post, catching only brief naps in her command chair while the tension mounted. "Anything?" she asked, glancing at Elena at the communication station. "They're talking among themselves, Captain," Elena replied, adjusting her headset. "Our translators are picking up fragments, but they're using encrypted channels for most of it." "And what can you make out?" Elena frowned in concentration. "They keep referring to Deathworlders and environmental extremes. I think they're talking about us." "Deathworlders," Raj repeated from his station. "That's actually kind of badass." "Cool or not?" Maya replied. "I don't like the silence. They're planning something." As if on cue, the sensor console erupted with warnings. Zoe's fingers flew across her controls. Multiple smaller craft deploying from the Karn vessel. 8. No. 12 vessels in combat configuration. "Shields up," Maya ordered calmly. "Weapon systems on standby. Let's not fire the first shot." The view screen showed the Karn ships spreading out in a classic encirclement pattern. Each was about a quarter the size of the Thunderchild, but together they presented a formidable force. "Incoming transmission," Elena announced. The screen flickered to show Overseer Krex, now seated in what appeared to be a command center. "Captain Chen," the alien said, its voice carrying a new note of caution. "Our leadership has reviewed our evaluation of your vessel and species." "And," Maya prompted when the alien paused, "your species presents unique challenges. Before further diplomatic relations can be established, we must understand your true capabilities." Maya's expression hardened. "What exactly does that mean, Overseer?" "A simple test. Your vessel will power down its defensive systems and allow us to perform more thorough scans. This is non-negotiable." The bridge crew exchanged glances. They all knew what non-negotiable meant in military terms. "I'm afraid I can't comply with that request," Maya replied firmly. "The Thunderchild will maintain its defensive posture until diplomatic protocols are established." "Then you leave us no choice," Krex responded. "We will extract the necessary data by force. Your primitive vessel cannot withstand our combined fleet." The transmission ended abruptly. "Battle stations," Maya ordered. "All hands prepare for combat." Throughout the ship, crew members rushed to their positions. In engineering, Lila and her team initiated emergency protocols, rerouting power to shields and weapon systems. "Captain," Dr. Okafor called from his science station. "I've been analyzing the Karn ship designs based on our scans. Their vessels appear to be optimized for their high-gravity, low-oxygen environment. That might explain their configuration." "How does that help us?" Maya asked, her eyes fixed on the tactical display as the Karn vessels moved into attack formation. "Their ships likely have the same vulnerabilities as their biology," the xenobiologist explained. "They'll be built to withstand crushing pressure and structural stress, but might be less adaptable to sudden environmental changes." Maya turned to her tactical officer. "Zoe, what's your assessment?" Zoe studied her displays. "They're positioning for coordinated energy weapon strikes. Their firepower is substantial. But if Dr. Okafor is right about their design philosophy, they might be optimized for power over flexibility." "Captain," Jack suggested, "what if we use that moon debris field from their demonstration? The fragments are creating a gravitational disturbance we could use to our advantage." Maya nodded. "Helm, plot a course through the debris field. Let's see how maneuverable those Karn ships really are." As the Thunderchild accelerated toward the shattered remains of Neptune's moon, the Karn vessels fired their first volley. Energy beams lanced out, most missing as the human ship performed evasive maneuvers, but one struck the aft shields. "Shield impact aft section," Raj reported. "Shields holding at 89%. Return fire, defensive pattern only," Maya ordered. "Target their propulsion systems if possible." The Thunderchild's weapons fired, energy pulses striking one of the smaller Karn vessels. The alien ship shuddered, but continued its pursuit. "They're tough," Zoe noted. Direct hit barely slowed them down. As they entered the debris field, Maya called to engineering. "Layla, I need everything you've got for the next 2 minutes. Full power to engines and maneuvering thrusters." "Aye, Captain," came the reply. "You've got it, but the stress on the hull will be significant." "Noted. Helm, execute pattern Chen Alpha." The Thunderchild suddenly changed course, diving between two massive chunks of the destroyed moon. The maneuver was risky, requiring split-second timing and precision that pushed the ship's structural integrity to its limits. Metal groaned as G-forces multiplied, but the human crew, strapped into their stations, endured the strain. 3 Karn vessels attempted to follow, but their larger, more rigid structures couldn't match the Thunderchild's agility. One clipped a floating boulder, sending it spinning out of control. Another avoided collision, but lost formation, while the third managed to stay on their tail. "They're adapting," Jack warned. "The rest are going around the debris field to cut us off." Maya smiled grimly. "Just as planned. Zoe, prepare the EM pulse generators. Full spread on my mark." The Thunderchild burst from the debris field, immediately confronted by the remaining Karn vessels that had circled around. The human ship was now surrounded. "Overseer Krex is hailing us again," Elena reported. "On screen," Maya ordered. The Karn leader's crystalline features appeared, somehow conveying what might be smugness despite the alien physiology. "Your evasion tactics are impressive but futile, Captain. Surrender your vessel now." "Before I do that," Maya replied, her finger hovering over a control on her armrest, "I should mention one thing about humans that you might find interesting." "And what is that?" Krex asked. "We're extraordinarily adaptive," Maya said, and pressed the button. "Mark." Suddenly, the Thunderchild emitted a massive electromagnetic pulse, custom designed based on Dr. Okoffer's analysis of Karn technology. The pulse wasn't powerful enough to disable human systems, which were hardened against such attacks, but the energy wave had a devastating effect on the Karn vessels. Their lights flickered, and several began to drift aimlessly. "Direct hit on all targets," Zoe reported excitedly. 8 Karn vessels showing significant power fluctuations, 4 maintaining minimal function. "Now, Layla," Maya called to engineering. The Thunderchild's engines roared to life with unexpected power as auxiliary systems that had been hidden from the Karn scans came online. The ship accelerated with breathtaking speed, breaking through the Karn formation before they could recover. "Status of Karn vessels," Maya demanded. "They're regrouping, but slowly," Raj replied. "Their systems appear vulnerable to our EM frequencies. They're adapting, but it's buying us time." "Incoming transmission," Elena announced, surprise in her voice. "It's Overseer Krex again." The alien appeared on screen, its command center now dimly lit by emergency power. "This deception was unexpected," Krex stated, the translator unable to fully capture the mixture of anger and grudging respect in the alien's voice. "Not deception, Overseer," Maya corrected. "Strategy. You assumed we were weak based on your initial scans. We simply allowed you to maintain that assumption. Your vessel harbors capabilities that were concealed from our sensors," Krex accused. "And your fleet threatened a ship on a peaceful mission," Maya countered. "We responded accordingly." There was a pause as the alien seemed to reassess the situation. The Karn Empire does not often encounter species capable of meaningful resistance. "Your adaptation is noted. I propose we start over," Maya suggested. "Real diplomatic talks this time, with mutual respect." "The Karn do not negotiate from positions of weakness," Krex replied stiffly. "Neither do humans," Maya said. "But we do recognize potential allies when we see them. Our ships are damaged, and continuing this conflict serves neither of our interests. What do you say to a ceasefire while both sides make repairs?" The alien was silent for a long moment. Your proposal has merit. A temporary cessation of hostilities would be practical. Excellent. Maya nodded. And perhaps during this ceasefire, we might discuss matters of mutual interest. For instance, we'd notice your vessels utilize a crystalline power matrix that's quite fascinating to our scientists. Krex's head tilted slightly. You could discern our power systems through our shielding. We're very observant, Maya replied with a small smile, and curious by nature. After another pause, the alien made a gesture that might have been acquiescence. The Karn High Command will require a full report on your species. You are not what we expected. I'll take that as a compliment, Maya said. Shall we arrange a proper diplomatic meeting? One without scanning devices or weapons demonstrations. Acceptable, Krex agreed. We will transmit coordinates for neutral space. We look forward to it, Maya replied as the transmission ended. On the bridge of the Thunderchild, the tension finally began to ease. Jack approached Maya's chair, lowering his voice. You think they're sincere. I think they're pragmatic, Maya answered. We just proved we're not the easy target they thought we were. That changes the equation. They underestimated us, Raj commented from his station. Big mistake. One that others might make as well, Maya noted. As humanity expands further into space, we'll encounter more species who judge us by their own standards. Today was just the first lesson. 3 days later, Captain Maya Chen led a small delegation to the designated coordinates in neutral space. A temporary structure had been erected, an environmental compromise that accommodated both human and Karn physiological needs. Different sections maintained different atmospheric conditions, gravity levels, and temperatures. As Maya and her team entered the conference area, they found Overseer Krex and several other high-ranking Karn officials waiting. The aliens' crystalline forms glinted under the specialized lighting. Captain Chen, Krex acknowledged, its translator now better calibrated to human speech patterns. The Karn High Command has reviewed all data regarding your species. Your classification has been revised, Krex stated. Humans are now designated as a Class 4 species, highly adaptive, environmentally resilient, and technologically innovative. This is uncommon for carbon-based life forms. I'm pleased to hear it, Maya replied diplomatically. Your environment, what you call Earth, would be classified in our terminology as a death world, Krex continued. High gravity, corrosive oxygen atmosphere, extreme temperature variations, dangerous radiation levels, and biological hazards. The fact that intelligent life evolved under such conditions is remarkable. One person's death world is another's paradise, Dr. Okafor commented from beside Maya. It's all a matter of perspective. Krex made a gesture of acknowledgement. The Karn Empire recognizes that humans represent a unique opportunity for exchange. Your adaptability complements our stability. Your innovation balances our tradition. Are you proposing an alliance, Overseer? Maya asked directly. The Karn do not form alliances lightly, the alien responded, but we are proposing a formal diplomatic relationship with potential for technological and cultural exchange. That sounds like a promising start, Maya agreed. Though I should warn you, humans can be difficult partners. We ask a lot of questions, we challenge assumptions, and we're constantly changing. These qualities are why this discussion is occurring, Krex stated. The galaxy is not always accommodating to emerging species. Some would see your kind as a threat to be eliminated rather than a potential ally. Are you saying we need friends out here? Jack asked bluntly. I am saying, Krex replied carefully, that the Karn Empire recognizes potential when we encounter it, and that mutual benefit often outweighs initial misunderstandings. Maya stepped forward, extending her hand in the human gesture of agreement. Then let's start by understanding each other better. After a moment's hesitation, Overseer Krex extended one crystalline appendage to meet Maya's hand, the two species touching for the first time without barriers. The universe is vast and often hostile, the alien stated. Species that can endure its challenges deserve recognition, and species that can work together, Maya added, despite their differences, might just find they're stronger for it. As the human and Karn delegations began their first true diplomatic discussions, Maya couldn't help but reflect on the irony. The very traits the Karn had initially dismissed as weaknesses, human biology, human adaptability, human unpredictability, had ultimately earned their respect. Out in the cold vastness of space, humanity had encountered its first major extraterrestrial civilization and had not been found wanting. The Karn had thought humans weak until they had faced the terrible truth. The soft, fragile-looking species from the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star had evolved on what the galaxy would consider a death world and had emerged stronger for it. In the coming years, as humanity expanded further into the cosmos, the legend of the Thunderchild's encounter with the Karn would spread. Other alien civilizations would hear the stories, some exaggerated, some understated, of the Deathworlders who lived in poison and radiation, who thrived in crushing gravity, who drank boiling liquids for pleasure, and who had stood their ground against a vastly superior force. And they would approach human space with caution. Back on the Thunderchild, as they prepared to return to Earth with news of the historic first contact, Maya gathered her senior officers in the mess hall, raising a cup of steaming coffee, the beverage that had so horrified their Karn visitors. She offered a simple toast to humanity, underestimated but never outmatched. The crew raised their cups in response, proud representatives of a species that had just announced its presence to the galactic community, not with conquest or submission, but with the quiet confidence of those who had survived a death world and called it home. The universe would never be the same again.